It has been an eventful week. So if you were in Texas last week, it was the deep freeze. It was the deep Arctic freeze. And this week, it is like sunny and it's 70 degrees the last several days. So it's beautiful. But I will say that's what it looks like on the outside. But there are still Texans in some pain. They are still in some adversity and trying to resolve it. So this Saturday, I had the opportunity to go out to an apartment complex. And they were without water. And so some people and some friends got together. We went over there and we were going to deliver some water to them. And it was kind of like eye-opening how much like some of the basic necessities of pain they were in. They were grabbing water from the pool just to flush the toilet, like melting snow. Power was intermittently in and out. I kind of had like that survivor's guilt. I was thankful to have power and water. And then this group of people is just struggling. So while the temperature looks good, there is still adversity. There is still pain. People are walking through in Texas, still have a number of friends without water. And then you can imagine the damage all these water pipes bursting is causing. So the contractors will be busy. But like today, like the discussion, like the growth time message, we're still on this power of 2020 vision. That's one bucket or one big space and place of growth time that we need to grow in, that we need to move forward in to reach our potential, right? To move forward. So we are talking today about overcoming vision blockers. So overcoming vision blockers. So I sent out a message the other day and got some really good responses on what things are that block our vision from seeing clearly and moving forward. So we're going to talk today. But first I want to share with you as a thought, I recently started watching WandaVision. So I'm a huge Avenger fan. I probably still have like a bro crush on Spider-Man, but I love the concept of the Avengers. They do what we can't do, right? They restore balance to the universe. They crush Thanos. And I started watching this WandaVision, and the story is so interesting on Disney+. That's not a plug for them or anything. But look, WandaVision is about the story of Wanda Maximoff, who was part of Hydra. She was part of the enemy. In her journey, she found the Avengers. She switched gears. But now she's found herself in this compromised position. So she has created this false kind of world. She's taken over this Jersey town through her superpower manipulation power. So she's mentally manipulative. And she has this power to change what people see and perceive. So she's taken over this Jersey town, Jersey boy, and she's actually kind of hacked into people's brains. And they are living this life in this Jersey town that is kind of like the Beef to Cleaver world. Like everything's rosy, everything's perfect, everything's okay. And what's really interesting about this is what she's done is create this world where she's actually brought back Vision, her husband, to life. And everybody on the outside can't get in. She's closed everything off. And she's kind of used her powers now and really lost sight of what she was gifted and called to go do. So it's really easy. And then you get behind the story, and the purpose to go with this is Wanda is suffering in pain. See, the pain is what's causing her. The pain of losing her husband is causing her to create this whole world, to create this whole vision, to create this falsehood, and it's impacting people's lives. So it's kind of ironic. You have Wanda, who here is in this world, married to Vision, but is lacking vision, is lacking how to see clearly, how to move forward and use her powers for good. And so that is, to me, the biggest obstacle we face to overcome is pain. Yeah, pain. Pain is this big obstacle. Unresolved pain prevents us from seeing clearly. It prevents us from moving forward. And I look at it in three different areas. So pain and unresolved pain really hinders us and prevents us from living out our value system. Yeah, living out the things we really value, our character, our integrity, our love, our competitiveness, whatever it is pain and unresolved pain steals and breaks our ability to live out our values. So here's an example I think we can all identify. So you're late for work or you're late for a meeting, you're driving down the road, and all of a sudden someone cuts in front of you and you swerve, the coffee spills on your lap, and you're like, shoot, you're in pain and you're frustrated. And you lose all sense of your values. You speed up, get a little road rage, stare at that person as they go by, give them the bird, whatever you are. You just lost sight of your values. Same thing in leadership. So you have a coworker, they do something contradictory that's causing you pain in your leadership. And what do you do? Right? You respond in a way that you would clearly identify, if you were in a good frame of mind, that this is not my values. And what happens is, what's crippling about our pain causing that misenvision of our values is that we spend all this wasted emotional energy, maybe an hour after that incident, maybe 2 or 3, and we're still mulling it over. Like, we're still trying to resolve it. We're still trying to process it. We talk to 2 or 3 people about it, and we spend all this energy and we lose sight of our vision. We lose sight of our values. And number 2 is, I look at it as like pain really causes us to lose sight of our goals, like our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations. So that's whether we have these goals in financial world, in our team, in our business, in our family, in our homes, our relationships. Like they pain and unresolved pain can cloud that vision, and it becomes this barrier, this obstacle. And one way to, you can look at this is what's blocking it and what's causing it is caused by our own lack, like our own unwillingness to move forward. So, like, take it from a financial perspective. So you have a vision, you have a goal. You run into a financial crisis that's causing you pain. And all of a sudden, your hopes and dreams are diverted. They get put on the back burner because you're so focused on that immediate need, that immediate press of what's happening in that financial world. And then you look at fitness. Sometimes with health and fitness, it's not even the pain, but it's the perceived pain. People don't want to get back in shape even though they have a vision for fitness, because when they go to the gym and they work out, there's going to be some pain. So that perceived pain then moves people away from seeing clearly and moving clearly to their vision. And then the big one, right? So pain causes just a shutdown in relationships. And relationships are the key. They're the crux of what move us forward in life. Like, without good relationships, without growing in relationships, we get sidetracked pretty easy, pretty quick. So you think about where you've experienced pain in your relationships and the effects of that, how you've been frustrated, disappointed, you shut down, or you rage out. You lose sight of vision and how to resolve and move forward in that relationship. And this pain becomes a blocker, becomes a shutdown valve. And it's this concept then that here's this pain, how it blocks our vision, how it blocks our living our values, how it blocks us in our relationships. And so what we don't realize is this, is sometimes we don't realize we're in pain. But what we do identify with is the symptoms. So the symptoms typically kind of show you where the pain is and that you're in pain. Symptoms look like this. You're anxious. You're frustrated. You get quickly angry. You're restless. Right? You just have a hard time sleeping because your mind's always churning. You're thinking about all the things that happen that you've made compromises or taking shortcuts on, and you're just kind of wrestling with those. Maybe you kind of get even depressed for moments or get hopeless. And all of a sudden you're in this spot where you can't see clearly, but you have these symptoms. They keep manifesting. They keep coming up. So you identify with them because those are real. That's part of life. And those symptoms then really block us from living those values, from moving forward in our vision goals, and also from really building relationships. So you have these pains, you have these symptoms that are there, and you recognize the symptoms. And then you also have to realize that you have this process of there's like deep pains, like there's traumatic abuse, neglect, long crises. There's these long-term pains that when they're not resolved, they get us stuck. They don't allow us to move forward. It's like this pain leaves this long trail. So what are we going to do with it? Like, what do you do with the pain? What do you do with it? And how do you get rid of some of these symptoms? And how do you really move forward so you start seeing clearly? Well, that's where really growth time comes in. And as a coach, what I want to think about today is really giving you 3 tips, really 3 things that will help you move forward, bring some ease to those symptoms, help resolve some of the pain, and help you move forward to live your best. And number 1's kind of hard. It's not the friendly one. It's really difficult. But I'll share the 3 and also share a story in my life of how it comes to life. But number 1 is radical ownership. We never move past pain. We never move past unresolved pain unless we take radical ownership. And that's tough. Like, to truly own the pain you've caused, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your choices, and how that's perpetuated. That's tough to sometimes truly own the effects of that. The other part is there's events and situations you couldn't control. Like, look, we're living in like a Jumanji type of world here where there's one calamity after another and there's no new normal. There's no safety or security. So there's events that have happened and they're not your fault. But what extreme or radical ownership really takes a hold of is that you're still responsible for you. You're responsible for how you reacted. You're responsible for if it broke your values. You're responsible if it broke your vision. You're responsible if it broke your relationships. And that's hard because you could choose every reason to be upset and angry, but you still need radical ownership of how you responded. That's a tough lesson, and it's a growth lesson. It's something you, me, all face day by day to be accountable and take radical ownership. Number 2, let it go. Let it go. Sounds simple, but it's crippling you. It's holding on to it. When we hold on to it, when we hold on to that pain, we hold on to what we perceived as it just cripples us. We can't move forward. You have to make the active decision. You have to make that choice to let go, to surrender it, to let go of that. Put this thought up that you're not going to let this affect you going forward. You're going to release it. And you're not going to pick it back up. What typically happens if we are letting go of some frustration or some pain, then typically we like to pick it back up. It makes us feel good. We're used to it. It's our comfort range. It's our zone. And maybe we like the way it makes us feel, empowered, in control. We can be angry. We can be upset. And we kind of like it. It's not really helping you. It's not moving you forward to your potential. It's not really driving you in your leadership. It's not going to really help you perform better in your business, in your life. So letting go. The third one, this is interesting. You got to get Jesus in your game. Yeah, Jesus in your game. So what does that mean? Well, I've kind of put forth this analogy that Coach, God, is like this great growth coach. And as a growth coach, he kind of sits above and kind of watches over and involved in everything that's going on in the field. But yet, as people, we need that kind of player coach, someone who's down here in the trenches. And that's where Jesus lives. He's kind of like that player coach who's connected to the ivory tower, but gets in the field and knows what people are going through. Like, he's been through the pain. He's been through the adversity. He's overcome it. And he's definitely reached his potential. So we have to get him into our game. There's that saying I've loved over the years is like, you need a come to Jesus moment. And getting him in your game is going to be impactful. The truth is you could look at Jesus as like an avenger, right? He is like that avenger. And when he's in the game, doing something you can't do on your own, restoring balance, breaking through Thanos, what he's doing for you is able to use his superpowers. So his superpower, and one of them is just healing. Bringing healing to that deep pain, that short-term pain, that frustration that's causing all these symptoms to flare up in your life. And he can bring that place, that healing to it. Because the reality is those symptoms, they just show you the opportunity where the pain is. They present you an opportunity to grow and grow forward. But getting Jesus in your game, getting him involved, letting him use those superpowers is life-changing. It's the way to get to your potential. It's a way to live your best life. So I told you I'd share a story, so I'll share my story with this and kind of my journey. And in my journey with this, go back into my 20s. Look, at the time in my 20s, I was focused on my goal. I wanted to play professional basketball in the NBA. I wanted to chase girls, and I wanted to make money. I wanted to make coin. That really was the focus. If you would have thought or talked to me about, hey, being in pain or, hey, getting some help or getting some healing, I would have laughed you off. I would have said, dude, that's just new age crazy. I don't want to deal with it. But yet, if you talk to me about my symptoms I was dealing with, and if you told me that my symptoms were causing me to lose sight of my vision, that would say, okay, I need to overcome that. If I'm going to reach my potential and make an impact, I need to figure out these symptoms, because my symptoms were real, like anger, fits of rage, like frustration, like things would cause it to flare up. It didn't go my way, or I couldn't get what I wanted. Relationships, no concept, broken, disconnected, like the symptoms of sometimes going through depression or just being overwhelmed. Or I can remember nights just sitting up, restless, not understanding where I was or what I was going to go do or what the purpose was. And so I had all these symptoms, but I never equated it to pain was blocking my vision. Pain was blocking me from seeing things clearly and moving forward. And so then you insert a coach, right? I insert coach into my life, and coach, has this message of extreme ownership, radical ownership, I should say. And so he has this message of radical ownership, and it's a hard one. But yet I got to face it. I've got to face that my thoughts, my emotions, my actions belong to me. And I can completely take ownership of the effect that my choices have caused pain in others. And I can take ownership of, events and circumstances that I wasn't in control that happened to me, that I could take ownership of my response. And I did. And it's a journey. It's still a journey. But that is a pathway to move forward, to not spend hours thinking about and wasted energy on what happened. So I learned to take radical ownership. I learned to surrender and let go of the things I couldn't change, and let go of frustrations that were plaguing me. And the quicker you do those things, the quicker you move forward, the quicker you have less tension point, and the clearer your vision gets to overcome. And then the third one, really about relationships. This is where Coach had a real direct conversation with me. This was kind of like come to Jesus, meet Jesus, get Jesus in your game thought. He was like, hey, that pain, like a lot of it's coming from like your father and your dad and how you feel about that situation. And it kind of made sense to me at that point. Like conversations, relationship, like it always brought up these symptoms. It wasn't good growing up. It wasn't necessarily from a deep connected relationship good. And so all this symptoms would come up. And Coach gave me a challenge. He told me something I didn't want to hear, but he gave me truth. And that's sometimes what we need to move forward. He said, look, I'm in your game. Go forgive and go move towards that relationship. Move towards it. And so I took that choice. I decided to move forward rather than stay stuck. And that began to clear my vision up, which was amazing. Like the relationship began to get restored. We began to move forward, develop over the last 20 years, a deep connected relationship. And what was amazing during that journey, as I learned, is that Jesus, that avenger, began to heal in me something I couldn't heal on my own. I couldn't solve that. I couldn't take that pain. And he came in and actually got in my game and took that. And it opened up my world. It became easier to move towards my potential, easier to live my values without compromise, without taking shortcuts all the time. And it became easier to grow through relationships. So it was truly life-changing and impactful. So these are, and I realize this isn't an easy message of growth time. Like there's some hard truths that you have to embrace. Like, growth is not like a microwave, or it's not like a TikTok. Growth is a journey, and it's a process. And we have to get in the trenches and move forward through it and be willing to and get into action. So on this, my challenge or my encouragement is to take this coaching, take this way of overcoming vision blockers, work through that pain, deal with that pain, take extreme ownership, take radical ownership, let go and surrender, and get Jesus in your game. You're going to see change, you're going to see results, and you're going to see things move forward. So this week, put one thing into action. If you do anything, put one thing into action that moves you forward. If you need help, hey, I'm a coach. Like that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I'm a leadership life coach for business leaders. Take great joy in helping people move forward to their potential and their performance and their goals. So reach out if I can help support you. But it is a tough message, but you can do it. I'm believing for breakthrough this week. I'm believing things are going to change and shift. What time is it? It's growth time.